everybody, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking all about POTS and the risk factors and who is most likely to get a POTS diagnosis and all of that kind of thing. So if you're interested in finding out more about POTS and the risk factors, then just keep watching. So if you're familiar with POTS at all, or maybe you've been doing some research on POTS and trying to figure out if it is something that you're suffering from, or maybe someone that you know, you've probably come across the fact that POTS, it affects women a lot more than it does men. Women are for sure the majority in this syndrome, and it's stated by the Dysautonomia International that it affects between 3 and 4 million people in the United States alone. And that is astronomical because, everywhere I go in the medical world, pretty much no one has a clue what POTS is. And I've talked about this before, but it is not a rare disorder. Dysautonomia and POTS, they're not rare. They are just very misunderstood, and there's no awareness being brought to POTS on a large scale, and I'm hoping that soon that will change. But anyways, that's kind of off topic. So the majority of sufferers are women, and it doesn't really affect small children so much as it does adolescents or those that are going through puberty. And I believe the age range for POTS starting is between the ages of 15 to 50. And again, that's usually in women, not to say men do not get POTS. But again, it is majority of the time women. Now, they say that it can run in families, but they haven't been able to identify a specific gene that is linked to the condition. But I think there is ongoing research there to try and identify that gene. Now, who is more at risk for POTS? Again, it's women. And again, patients can develop POTS at any time. So for me, if you've listened to my story, I've told you that I got POTS directly after a viral illness. And when you go online and you do your research about when when POTS can become a problem for people or when they can be diagnosed, you will see that oftentimes it can be after a viral illness, and that was the case for me. But they also say that you can get this after serious infections, any kind of medical illness, pretty severe medical illness, certain surgeries or trauma to the brain, and pregnancy even is a factor in getting POTS. So there's a lot of different variables and a lot of different reasons why. I don't even want to say reasons, because doctors cannot seem to figure out why POTS happens. I mean, one day I was healthy, and literally overnight after having a stomach bug, my life has been forever changed, and it's just insane. But there are some other diseases that are linked to POTS. So if you have a certain disease, you're more likely to also have POTS cannot think of the word, in combination with this disease. And I wanted to read you off a list because I could not even begin to remember or memorize all of these things. But it says that several diseases and conditions seem to make you more likely to have POTS. And these can include, and I'm sure it's not an exhaustive list, but anemia, or when you don't have enough red blood cells, autoimmune diseases like Sjögren's syndrome or lupus, chronic fatigue syndrome, diabetes or even pre-diabetes, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's a muscle and joint condition, and that is also another thing that's very much linked to POTS. If you have hypermobility, a lot of the time you also have this condition, POTS. Also illnesses like mononucleosis or the kissing disease, if you haven't heard that in a while, Lyme disease or hepatitis C, multiple sclerosis, or even a click murmur syndrome, also called mitral valve prolapse. So that is just kind of a short list of things that if you have, perhaps maybe you're also experiencing POTS. Not to say it's definitive or every time these people have X, Y, and Z, they also have POTS, but they have been able to create a link between them. So yeah, trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to cover. Again, there is not a lot of information about POTS out there, and it is a very just kind of when you talk to your doctor about POTS, and even some that know about it, it's just kind of, there's not a lot to say because they don't know a lot about it. They don't have a lot of case studies about it or research to back up why you get POTS. Why is your POTS worse than someone else's? Why do you have this subtype of POTS? You know, there's just so much more research that needs to be done. And yeah, doctors just really need to make themselves aware more about POTS. And I was talking to my psychologist about it, and she totally agrees because she, in her practice, has been able to help another person, not only me, but realize that they have POTS. So she wonders how many more people that are in the psychiatric care or the mental health realm are suffering from POTS and not just anxiety, because a lot of times that is your first point of direction that physicians will send you is, oh, you're having just anxiety and panic attacks, you need to go see a mental health professional. And then, you know, they're taking you on, and you know, you're not getting any better in some regards. And then they start to, you know, see that, oh, there are other physical manifestations that you're going through. Hey, let me dig into this. And I was just so fortunate to have a psychologist who is just so intelligent and does her research. And she just knew, you know, after a few visits, after I started having POTS symptoms, that, hey, something else is going on. And if it wasn't for her, I have a feeling that we would still be searching for a diagnosis and for more answers. So I am so thankful for her. So yeah, that is just a little bit of information about who is more likely to have POTS, or what are some comorbidities and, you know, other not similar, but other diseases that often come coupled with POTS. So yeah, I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Again, I hope you're staying healthy and safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.